Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy today's episode.
Centaurs. On a planet. That's impossible. A hoarse voice suddenly appeared, causing the entire planet to tremble slightly. Pa pa pa. Many tentacles had been striking in the air with all kinds of fluorescent lights flashing. After hearing this sound, these tentacles all stopped. The entire planet became extremely strange and silent. It's only a rank 6 life form, yet it was able to withstand an attack of that level? What is the beast god civilization doing? Also, reanalyze the monster immediately. The development on Earth seems to have exceeded my expectations. Yes. Tap 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 tap. Immediately after, the entire planet was completely busy again. And quote, "The king is too powerful. That terrifying electromagnetic pulse just now was completely annihilated." End quote. Morpheus raised his head and mumbled, "That's great. Huh. Those idiotic beast god civilizations are dead. As expected of the king. It won't be long before everyone gets to eat extraterrestrials." On the internet, countless comments like this were posted. The creatures hiding in the fallout shelter were having a wild time. But, compared to the excitement of these creatures, the beast god civilization was in a completely different situation. 100 battleships. The commanders of each warship were all stunned. The beast gods inside were not any better. They might look aggressive, but when faced with a truly powerful enemy, they weren't any better. This was the instinct of any living creature. It's over, is everyone going to die? End quote. Why would such a creature appear on such a low-level planet? Damn it, self-destructing battleships. Even if we die, we have to destroy this planet. Our beast god civilization will never admit defeat. End quote. Shut up. There's hope. There's definitely hope. That guy is coming. Such voices continued to ring out from the various large battleships. Yi Bei's invasion had terrified him to the extreme. But in reality, as these voices rang out, the Flame Foal, which had been captured previously, had already begun a massacre in one of the super cosmic battleships. Its body was blood red, and it was moving at an extremely fast speed, like a crazily burning flame. Crack, crack. The Flame Foal's bestiality had been completely stimulated, and it was extremely fast when it slaughtered the beast gods. He opened his mouth. Sharp teeth extended. As they traveled through the battleship, beast gods' necks were bitten off almost every second. The air was filled with the smell of blood. The beast gods with lower creature levels were no match for the Flame Foal, even though the Flame Foal was extremely ferocious. However, compared to Yi Bei, he was still far inferior. Walala. When Yi Bei used electromagnetism to rush up to a battleship and rammed through it with his body, hundreds of beast gods immediately blocked his path. They aimed all kinds of sci-fi weapons at him. Damned monster. If you can understand us, then retreat immediately. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite. One of the beast gods bared his teeth and threatened. However, the beast gods beside him were much more decisive and didn't say a word. Chi chi chi. When they saw Yi Bei appear, they immediately raised the weapons in their hands and pressed the launch button. Immediately, countless dark red rays of light rushed towards Yi Bei. Each ray of light was terrifyingly destructive. They were tens of thousands of times more powerful than the armor-piercing bullets that human civilization had developed in the past. Even if a giant diamond was placed in front of them, it would be pierced by these rays of light. When he saw the rays of light shooting out, Yi Bei didn't try to dodge. However, many of the beast gods were looking forward to it. As long as I hit him, he's dead. Idiot, you didn't dodge? We're dead. The beast gods who had pressed the launch button stared with their eyes wide open, and their minds were filled with such sounds. But puff, 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 puff. The next second, the beast gods were stunned. Indeed, all of the red beams of light had struck Yi Bei's body. However, what happened next was completely different from what he had imagined. Yi Bei's golden body was extremely sturdy. The rays of light that hit him were unable to cause any damage even on his skin. How is this possible? Can't cause any damage? What is his body made of? This is too unscientific. The group of beast gods shouted. Clang. The weapon in the hands of the beast deity who had threatened Yi Bei fell to the ground with a clang. At the same time, he retreated. If possible, he would have swallowed his threat without hesitation. However, it was too late. Whoosh. Yibei's body was coiled up in the warship. Those attacks, just now, were like fishing out an itch to his body. They could not cause any damage at all. Ignore attacks. His eyes were focused on the beast god who had just spoken. The latter's body trembled violently. Didn't you just say that you're going to be impolite to me? I just want to know, if I don't back down, what would be the result? Chi. Yibei flicked out his scarlet forked tongue. As he spoke, his body slowly moved in the direction of the beast god. It had a huge body. It was emitting a cold light. The beast god who had spoken earlier trembled violently in the face of such an aura. He could not move a single step. Kill this monster. Continue firing. Meanwhile, the beast gods at the side became even more hysterical after realizing that their attacks were ineffective. Chi. They frantically pressed the attack button. The entire warship was filled with the impact of the dark red light, and the air was filled with violent energy. However, it still had no effect. Yibei's defense was simply too powerful. He didn't slow down and continued to move at high speed. 10 meters, 20 meters. As the distance between them closed, the threat that the beast gods felt kept increasing. Finally, Yibei didn't even need to say anything. Some of the beast gods couldn't hold back anymore. Clang. They dropped their weapons and looked up at Yibei's huge body, and they immediately surrendered. No, don't kill us. I beg you, please let me go. These beast gods who had always looked down on the creatures on Earth as if they were ants, in order to survive, they surrendered even more directly than some of the humans before. Read latest chapters at Wuxia World, site only. Pucci. But Yibei wasn't going to give them any chances. His body turned into a golden shadow, and he was too lazy to care about these guys. His sharp teeth appeared, and after opening his mouth, he began to devour them. The monster is charging in. What do we do next? In the wormhole above the Pacific Ocean, inside the battleship of the beast god civilization, the 6 supreme commanders sat in a circle on the huge stone chairs, but the atmosphere was extremely tense. The higher-ups of the beast god, who were usually calm and aloof, couldn't calm down at all. We have 100 super battleships carrying countless weapons. Even if we fail, we can blow the entire Earth into pieces. The monster has rushed in. What we should do now is to get rid of the shackles of the positive and negative electron vortex. Get out of the wormhole, and let our warship be on Earth. Only then can we fully display our combat strength. End quote. Intelligent assistant, how much time do we have before we leave the wormhole? DDD. In the hall, the alarms sounded extremely intense. The surrounding space debris was mostly annihilated by the electromagnetic pulse beam attack just now. This directly increases the speed of our escape. In 10 seconds at most, we will be completely out of the restraints of the wormhole, and all the warships will be free to move. Very good. Hearing this, Beast God number 1 finally showed a satisfied look. End quote. Turn on the communicator immediately and connect to the monster's location. His intelligence is not bad. I'll continue to talk to him. End quote. Yes. Buzz. Inside a warship, Yibei was engaged in a frenzied slaughter. Beast gods were level 3, so they were much more delicious than humans. And every time Yibei devoured them, he could feel his body being replenished with powerful energy. This feeling made him obsessed and fanatical. But just as Yibei devoured all the beast gods on the battleship, the sound of electric currents could be heard. Immediately after, a 3D projection suddenly appeared in front of Yibei without any warning. And that projection was Beast God number 1. Beast God number 1. As the highest commander of the beast god civilization, his body was huge and he was filled with a domineering aura. A creature from Earth. If you stop now, surrender to our snake civilization, and obediently let us imprison you for 100 years, we can consider reducing your sin. If you continue to kill, in at most 20 seconds, you and the entire Earth will be completely destroyed. Your actions will make you pay the most terrible price. Beast God number 1's voice was slow and unquestionable. The threatening aura within it was even more terrifying. Yibei looked at the huge projection in front of him. It was a monster with a height of 20 meters, 4 legs, and 6 arms. Its head looked like an elephant, and it had a very long nose. But the nose was extremely flexible. His body was like a prehistoric dinosaur. If this monster had appeared on Earth in the past, it would have been a destructive existence. Beast God number 1. The leader of the Beast God Civilization's army. You really came at the right time. Yi Bei was very calm when he saw the projection. Using his mind power territory, he had observed the entire fleet, including the 6 beast gods. You still remember me? Beast God number 1 was slightly surprised, but his ferocious face was soon replaced by coldness. End quote. It's useless. Perhaps your individual combat power is very strong, but we've dispatched a fleet of 100 ships this time. Each one of them has the power to destroy the Earth. If you continue, it'll only end with both sides suffering. These words came from the depths of his heart. Indeed, in Beast God number 1's opinion, Yi Bei didn't have any chance of winning. Is that so? Yi Bei didn't think much of it. End quote. Didn't you ask me this to buy time? He said. End quote. I know you're trying to buy time. End quote. Your fleet has broken free from the wormhole's restraints. Let's start the war. I'd like to see how strong you are. Beast God number 1's body shrank. Suddenly, he felt the air around him become much colder. It was as if all the information on his side had been under Yi Bei's control since the beginning. This situation made him feel more and more uneasy. However, the 10 seconds were up. Beast God number 1 regained its imposing manner. End quote. Since you already know, then you shouldn't waste time. Inferior monster, you're dead today. You've killed so many of our people. You'll all pay the most terrible price for this. Today, we'll wash the entire Earth with blood, and no living being will be able to survive. As soon as he said this, the 3D projection disappeared. At the same time, in the sky above the Pacific Ocean, a huge dark vortex with a diameter of almost 8 million kilometers was shrinking at an extremely fast speed. Every second, it was shrinking at a speed of 50 kilometers, and it was still increasing. And, as it shrank, giant warships floated in the air. 1 second, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Only 10 seconds had passed. The dark vortex above the Pacific Ocean turned into a small black dot and disappeared. The originally gloomy sky became sunny. The sun shone on the warship. Every warship had a metallic texture, and the weapons on them were even more terrifying. It was as if they could blow anything into pieces. These warships were many times more powerful than the warships of the Snake Tribe civilization. In the hall where the 6 beast gods were, Beast God number 1 ended his conversation with Yi Bei. That monster really deserves to die? There's no need to talk nonsense with him. Next, I'll just kill him. He growled and then looked at the intelligent beast god. End quote. End quote. We've already gotten rid of the wormhole's traction. Next, we'll spread out all the battleships and occupy the area with the most creatures on Earth. Then, we'll open fire. End quote. Beast God number 1 was full of killing intent. It should have been like this long ago. Beast God number 2 agreed. All we want is the water source here and kill these traitors while we're at it. Beast God number 4 growled. The fear he had felt because of Yi Bei just now made his anger increase explosively. End quote. Determine the battleship that the monster is on. Control their intelligence center and make them self-destruct. End quote. Beast God number 1 ordered again, his eyes filled with a cold light. Read latest chapters at Wuxia World, site only. But the intelligent beast god didn't carry out the orders immediately. On the contrary, the intelligent beast god directly said something that made the atmosphere freeze. End quote. Everyone, we have indeed broken through the wormhole's restraints. But now, our fleet has been completely surrounded. What? Surrounded? Hello everyone. This is the news. Just now, the first wave of our Snake Civilization's army has arrived in the Pacific Ocean. This time, the army had set off from Earth's various military regions. The first batch of spaceships had a total of 10,000 spaceships. There are also countless powerful creatures within. End quote. This time, the spaceships are equipped with the latest weapons, super electromagnetic pulse cannons, AI death light weapons, and all spaceships are equipped with anti-gravity devices and propulsion devices. They can carry the battle on land, water, and air. End quote. End quote. Moreover, the Snake Civilization's strongest leader, His Excellency the Snake God, has personally charged into those alien battleships. We believe in his strength, and he will definitely make all the enemies feel true fear." End quote. The head of China stood in front of a huge screen, watching the live broadcast of the situation, his expression extremely serious. Although the live broadcast had praised the Snake Tribe civilization to be very powerful. However, those with sharp eyes could see the difference with a single glance. The Beast God civilization's battleships were at least 20,000 meters in diameter, and the bigger ones were hundreds of thousands of meters in diameter. They looked very domineering, and all kinds of weapons and turrets were densely packed on them, which made all the creatures shiver. As for the battleships of the Snake Tribe civilization, although they had an absolute advantage in numbers, they were not the only ones. However, the largest warship was only 10,000 meters in diameter. The material used to make it was some ordinary metal that was commonly seen on Earth. The technological gap is too big. Compared to the Beast God civilization, the Snake civilization is just starting out. The current situation is like a group of ancient humans who have no iron in their hands facing a modern army with guns. Can we really win? The leader of China muttered. There's no point in worrying so much. At least the Naga god has already displayed his strength. Even that terrifying light beam was unable to cause any damage to him. Lord Leader, we can look at it from a different perspective. Although the Snake civilization's technology is far inferior to the Beast God civilization, in terms of individual combat, they are completely superior. Beside him, an old man spoke. His eyes flickered slightly, but when he analyzed the problem, he was extremely wise. I hope so. The leader of China nodded. Other than this place. At this moment, all the humans and all the shelters were bustling with activity. Pa pa pa. Countless creatures were madly typing on their keyboards. End quote. Great, they're finally going to fight. The Snake civilization will definitely win. End quote. End quote. There are so many warships. Even if every warship launches an attack, they will be blown up, right? End quote. To be honest, the battleships of the Beast God civilization are so cool. If one day we can have such a battleship, it would be so good. Flying out of space and occupying planets would be easy. End quote. End quote. I believe in the Snake civilization's strength. End quote. Let's start the battle. I'm already thirsty. On the internet, countless such voices appeared. At the moment, 99% of the world's living beings were watching the war online. Yes, Your Excellencies. The moment we left the wormhole, I already scanned the surroundings. A large number of battleships and spaceships were rushing in from all directions. The first batch exceeded 10,000, and there were more later on. After scanning the entire planet, the number of battleships that took off exceeded 1 million. These battleships were even equipped with the latest weapons, and they could even use electromagnetic pulse cannons and deadlight. The intelligent Beast God quickly replied, 10,000 ships? And weapons similar to the ones on the Beast God civilization's warship? The 6 Beast God higher-ups could no longer remain calm after hearing this. Their mouths were wide open. Are you kidding me? After a long time, Beast God number 1 couldn't help but growl. 10,000 ships. This number was completely unimaginable. Even if they gathered all the battleships of the Beast God civilization, they would only have this many. Earth was a low-leveled civilization, so how could they have so many battleships? End quote. Sir, please don't misunderstand. What I mean is that their total number of battleships is only so many. However, according to our analysis, their battleships have only just reached the level of a level 3 civilization. They only have some anti-gravity engines installed on some of their ships. Other than that, the weapons on those battleships should be developed based on the technology that our Beast God civilization had deliberately placed on Earth. Other than the number, there are also many battleships that have been destroyed. They don't pose any threat. The intelligent Beast God said slowly. When he said this, he, an artificial intelligence, showed great disdain. The 6 Beast Gods, whose hearts were in their throats, heaved a sigh of relief when they heard this. And quote, I knew it. How could a warship exist in such a trash civilization? Beast God number 4's voice was mocking. And quote, it's just a bunch of trash spaceships. No matter how many of them come, they're still trash. End quote. Beast God number 2 was full of disdain. I say, AI assistant, are you having a stroke today? He was surrounded by this group of trash, and he still had the nerve to remind them? We'll just knock them away and crush them. Beast God number 6 asked. Open fire. Destroy all the flies. Beast God number 1 felt that he had been a little rude just now. After calming down, he sat back in his chair and gave a decisive order. Yes. The intelligent Beast God didn't hesitate. Chi. The next second, all the cannons of the 100 warships that came out of the wormhole were quickly charged. A violent energy aura spread wildly in the surrounding air. End quote. After the battle starts, you don't have to use those weapons anymore. Your bodies are the best weapons. I will grant you all powerful abilities, such as controlling your balance and using electromagnetic gravity. The super battleships of the Beast God civilization will be your best assistants. Even if you can't fly, it's fine. Once you enter the battleships, you will be killed. End quote. When the Beast God civilization started to move, in a battleship that had been completely massacred, Yibei extended his mental power domain as he spoke in a similarly rude manner. Roar. At the same time, a huge flame burst out from his mouth. The battleship that had already begun to self-destruct was directly pushed forward by the impact of the flames. And NBSB, Hong Long Long. In the sky above the Pacific Ocean, a cloud of terrifying fireworks exploded, and the powerful impact made the water in the ocean boil and surge. Many battleships of the Beast God civilization around were pushed away by the impact of the explosion. Read latest chapters at Wuxia World, site only. Hualalalala. In the hall, the 6 Beast God higher-ups sat on the chairs. Following the explosion, their bodies couldn't help but shake. But their eyes were filled with excitement. That monster is going to die this time. The explosion of a warship was so powerful that even if the 3-body civilization came, they would suffer irreparable damage. The monster is in the core. Even a rank 10 would not be able to survive, let alone a rank 6 creature. Beast God number 1 said excitedly. He's definitely dead. It'll be easy after killing the first one. Additionally, it said that the monster is the king of all living things on Earth. As long as he's dead, the other living creatures will definitely know how powerful he is. Yes, but I can't just let it go like this. He just killed so many of our beast gods. Next, we have to take revenge. There are spaceships flying over, so we'll just destroy them all. The 6 beast gods said fiercely. They had no intention of being polite to the creatures on Earth. However, just as these words were spoken, a hoarse voice sounded in their minds. With what you just said, all the beast gods on Earth will die today. As for the beast gods that are still in the universe, I'll wipe them out as fast as I can. I'll make this civilization disappear in the long river of history. The voice was hoarse, cold, and emotionless. When the voice appeared, all of the beast gods felt their bodies turn cold. Who is it? You? You're not dead yet. In the warship, the 6 beast gods shouted. At the same time, the intelligent beast god's voice sounded again. That unknown creature has spatial abilities. He used the electromagnetic pulse once before, and when the battleship exploded, I noticed that he entered the alternate dimension. And when the explosion ended, he was already on another battleship. If he has such an ability, we'll have to use a space weapon to kill him. Sirs, do you want to activate the space weapon? What? The 6 beast gods, who were already in shock, were dumbfounded when they heard this. In the beginning, the combined attack of all the battleships, which was condensed into a light beam that was enough to blow up the Earth, failed to kill it. Now, even the self-destruction of the warship could not kill it. The power of that creature had completely exceeded their expectations. However, to use a space weapon, no, you can't use that kind of weapon. Beast God number 1 said without hesitation. With the current energy storage of our battleships, using that kind of weapon will consume too much energy. It will also destroy the wormhole. It might even make the entire Earth completely unsuitable for survival. We will all die in the end. End quote. End quote. I can't use space weapons for the time being. End quote. It can't be used. The 6 beast gods said. Space weapon. Just this term alone sounded very general. However, to the beast god civilization, such a weapon was a taboo. To the beast god civilization, space weapons were like nuclear bombs to humans. These weapons, until the last moment, would have a terrifying price to pay. End quote. Other than space weapons, we have countless types of weapons. Are there no weapons that are effective against him? Beast God number 1 asked. There are indeed many weapons. However, when I used the electromagnetic pulse beam, I had already calculated the energy. That unknown creature can control space. Ordinary weapons would not be able to hit him at all, much less cause him any harm. Only a spatial weapon can annihilate their space and kill them. The intelligent beast god answered slowly. Damn it. Since I can't kill him, I'll just leave him alone for now. They would attack the spaceships of the Snake Tribe civilization around them and cover the entire Earth with their firepower. That shouldn't be a problem, right? Beast God number 1 roared. He had just arrived on Earth, and this had already happened. This made him very angry. Also, get all the battleships to start space jumps. Don't let go of any place on Earth. Isn't that monster their king? Today, I'll let them know how much of a piece of trash they are. Yes. The intelligent beast god had no objections. In the next second, the intelligence center immediately transmitted this order to all the battleships. A large amount of the spiritual pearl's power was consumed at this moment. The space around the beast god civilization's battleships that had just come out of the wormholes was distorted. You want to escape? Sensing the change in space, Yibei immediately noticed the abnormality. These battleships needed to space jump, which consumed energy and took a certain amount of time. Yibei definitely wouldn't let them do as they pleased on Earth. Caesar, Golden Lion, Wong 1. Start attacking. All ship weapons, and all of you. We cannot let any of the beast god civilization's ships complete the space jump. Yibei's voice was cold. Walalala. Whoosh. 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 At that moment, the battleships of the beast god civilization had no idea what was happening. Above the warship, countless mutated birds were circling. The cannons of the Snake Civilization spaceships were aimed at the battleships. These weapons might not pose much of a threat to the battleships, but if they were all fired at the same time, their power was not to be underestimated. Below the warship, in the sea, there were countless mutated beasts scuttling about at high speed. At the same time, half of their heads were exposed above the sea, all waiting for the order to attack. This three-dimensional encirclement was the strongest formation that the Snake Civilization could come up with. Begin the attack. Finally, the order was given. Golden Lion, Wong 1, Caesar, Blood Moon. Spring, Flower, Autumn, Moon, Pursuing, Joy, Making, and Mary, as well as all the mutated beasts that had rushed over to the Pacific Ocean, had their eyes wide open. In the next second, a scene that all the beast gods on those battleships would never forget for the rest of their lives appeared. Chi chi chi. The eyes of all the mutated beasts lit up, and destructive rays of death mixed with the power of electromagnetic pulses shot out of their eyes. It shot toward the beast god civilization's warship at light speed. Why would I? And quote, those monsters can launch this kind of attack with their physical bodies? End quote. They're just low-level creatures, and they're definitely carbon-based creatures. How did they do it? Read latest chapters at Wuxia World, site only. After countless light beams appeared in the sky, the beast gods all widened their eyes in disbelief. Buzz, buzz. But at the same time, the cracks in the space around many warships were getting bigger and bigger. They could complete the jump at any time. Bastard, so what if you're heaven-defying? End quote. Destroy the Earth. I don't believe you can survive in the universe with your physical bodies. End quote. Many noble beast gods growled in fear. Centaurs. It was still on that planet. At this moment, if one were to look at the planet from space, they would definitely be shocked by the scenery here. The entire planet was surrounded by a layer of pale green light. The light membrane was like a giant control board. Countless tentacles gently touched it, and all kinds of strange patterns and words took shape on the light film. But at this moment, on that planet, the hoarse voice continued. Immediately reanalyze and reevaluate the creatures on Earth. Their bodies can be used as firearms, which can only be done by higher-level creatures. Other than that, contact the Beast God Civilization and tell them to bring out their most powerful force. The voice seemed to echo throughout the entire planet. when the eyes of countless mutated beasts burst out with light at the same time. This had indeed stunned many civilizations hiding in the dark. But, at this moment, the beast gods on the battlefield were the most shocked. And quote, "Speed up. All the monsters are around here. As soon as we jump to this space, we'll immediately start a full counterattack. Damn it, these monsters deserve to die." End quote. Beast God number 1 roared in a super warship. His eyes were bloodshot. When he saw the light shooting out from the eyes of countless creatures, his first reaction was to recall the information that the Lamia had sent back not long ago. Back then, the Lamia's battleship had also been destroyed by a group of mutant beasts using Death Ray. However, during that time, Beast God number 1 had pondered for a long time and never believed that the creatures on Earth could be so powerful. It was not until he saw it with his own eyes today that he realized how terrifying it was. The pride of the Beast God civilization. It was instantly shattered. As a beast god, his intelligence was extremely high. Perhaps the technological development of the creatures on Earth was weak, but with such high-quality creatures, sooner or later, the technology here would surpass the beast god civilization. Yes, the intelligent beast god's body flickered with red light. He strengthened the battleship's defense while speeding up the space jump. Boom, boom, boom. However, just as all the warships were enduring the frenzied attacks, the skies above the Pacific Ocean were filled with intense explosions. However, the Snake civilization was not the only one attacking. The Beast God civilization was also fighting back crazily while performing the space jump. And NBSB, Hong Long Long. Boom. In an instant, the entire sky above the Pacific Ocean became the center of the explosion. Countless laser beams shot back and forth, and the sky was filled with crazy energy. This kind of war was much more shocking than the war during the time of human civilization. On Earth, the creatures that were hiding in the underground shelter were all shocked by the war. This is far beyond the battle scenes in those science fiction movies, right? Compared to the current situation here, those things in science fiction movies are child's play. Some creatures posted on the internet at the first opportunity. Yeah, it's been less than 3 years, and you've changed so much. Especially those battleships from the Beast God civilization. They're so cool. But I'm more optimistic about the Snake civilization. Each of them is a living fighting machine that can't be killed. Once they enter the Beast God's warship, they will definitely win. That's not for sure. Didn't anyone notice? Although Earth is huge, it's as fragile as a toy in front of those super spaceships. If they want to, they can make Earth explode at any time and turn it into a pile of gravel in the universe. When the discussion on the internet reached its peak, such a voice appeared. It was as if a violent storm on the surface of the sea had suddenly passed by, and everything had returned to calmness. The atmosphere was extremely strange. The entire internet seemed to have stopped at this moment. But soon, an even greater wave came. End quote. What if the Beast God civilization is really angry and wants to destroy Earth? What a hateful alien. What do we do? I don't want to die yet. There must be a way. There must be. Damn it. When will the Snake God show his true strength? The various posts on the internet slowly became more and more worried. Indeed, judging from the current situation, the Snake Tribe civilization didn't have any advantage at all. The battle over the Pacific Ocean was extremely intense, and all kinds of terrifying death rays were flying everywhere. However, the attacks of the Snake race didn't have any effect on the super spaceships. On the contrary, as time passed, the Beast God civilization's counterattack would easily destroy one of the Snake race's spaceships. Although the war was intense, the losses were all on the Snake race's side. Their defense is too strong. Even if we hit the target, it's useless. The golden lion growled, and its silver-white fur stood up. From time to time, some electromagnetic pulse light beams would rush through his body. But those light beams couldn't even break Golden Lion's hair. Even if they hit him, they didn't cause him any harm. Then what should we do? If we continue like this, even though we have a lot of ships, we definitely can't afford to waste them. If this goes on for too long, we'll suffer huge losses. Beside him, Wang Wen flicked his tongue and looked a little anxious. As an apostle, he was very powerful. The light beams of the Beast God civilization couldn't hurt him either, but he couldn't stay calm when he saw so many of his spaceships being destroyed. Don't worry, If the king wants us to attack, then we'll attack. With the king here, any danger can be resolved. Those beast gods can't do anything at all, Caesar said with a confident look. And NBSB, Hong Long Long. In fact, Yibei had long since noticed the continuous explosions over the Pacific Ocean. After devouring more than a dozen beast gods in a row, he finally slowed down a little. And quote, "The level of technology is still too low. I thought that the Snake Civilization's current attack would be able to cause some damage to those warships. Now, it seems that we have to use other forces." End quote. Chi. Yibei flicked his tongue and said calmly, "Read latest chapters at Wuxia World, site only." Yibei had originally intended to summon the Rainbow Battleship, but after thinking about it for a few seconds, he decisively gave up. The Beast God Civilization's army that had come this time was nothing. In the future, there would definitely be stronger ones. The Rainbow Battleship was Yibei's strongest trump card against the technology of an advanced civilization. He absolutely couldn't use it unless it was the last moment. But as he watched the various creatures of the Snake Civilization being attacked, the killing intent on Yibei's body grew stronger. In a universe super warship, Beast God number 1, who had been frightened by the attacks of the mutated beasts, laughed out loud without any regard for his image. Jia. The voice was strange, evil, and a little hoarse. And quote, "Ants are just ants. Even if there are a few of them who are extremely powerful, so what? Even if they were given another 10,000 years, they wouldn't be able to surpass our great beast god civilization. Such a low-level creature is only worthy of being a slave." Hee. In the hall, the other 5 beast gods were also in a good mood. "We overestimated those guys just now. The gap in civilization level can't be made up for. Although their biological level is relatively high, in the face of technology, they can't cause any waves at all." Beast God number 4 was full of disdain. "What we need to do now is to prevent those monsters from entering the warship. As long as it's technology against technology, the final winner will definitely be us." Without a doubt. Beast God number 2's tone was flat. "The space jump will continue. Once we separate, those guys will be even more unlucky. Today, they will definitely pay a heavy price." The sound kept ringing. 3, 2, and at this time, the intelligent beast god kept sending out a clear countdown. He was only one step away from the spatial jump. But it was too early for the beast gods to be happy. "Everyone, immediately spread the electromagnetic field all over your body. Don't be afraid. Just use your bodies to hit the battleships, or find a gap and rush into those battleships. The beast gods aren't strong. They only rely on technology. Any living being, as long as you have the ability to kill the beast gods, then they will all become food in your mouths." Yibei was furious. His voice was very cold. Through the spiritual power domain, the voice was directly heard in the minds of every mutated beast at the scene. At the same time, his spiritual domain covered the area. Yibei immediately bestowed all of his abilities to her. The next moment, it was a miserable battlefield. Because of the war, countless injured mutated beasts were all stunned. Then, they felt as if they had completed some kind of transformation and couldn't help but exclaim, "I feel like I can fly." End quote. "I feel like I've obtained countless powerful powers. It's incredible, as if I was born with them." End quote. "What kind of power is this?" End quote. "Bullet time." End quote. "So strong, is this really me?" While they were in a daze, countless mutated beasts muttered unconsciously. Then, an extremely shocking scene appeared on the sea. Zzz. The surface of each mutated beast's body was flashing with an electromagnetic light. Then, these mutated beasts activated bullet time without hesitation. And NBSB, whoosh whoosh whoosh. The speed was too fast. From the perspective of the beast gods, it was as if the battle had been going well, and they had the absolute advantage. But in the end, all the enemies had turned into streams of light in an instant. In the sky above the Pacific Ocean, at this moment, there were only 85 battleships left. Yibei destroyed 10 of them. The Flame Foal had destroyed 5 of them. The beast gods who were still alive were all stunned when they saw the mutated beasts flying toward their battleships. Their eyes were filled with fear. End quote. Monsters. Those are all monsters. End quote. End quote. What's going on with them? I've never seen such a creature before. End quote. His body's movement speed has exceeded the speed of light. How did you do that? Countless beast gods were shouting. End quote. Alert. Alert. A large number of creatures are invading. End quote. Warning. Our warship is under a strong impact. End quote. Engine malfunction, requesting power consumption. Auto repair. End quote. In the hall of the highest commander, the excited expressions on the 6 beast gods' faces froze when they heard these voices. This turn of events had come too quickly, catching them off guard. What's going on? What's going on? Beast God number 1's voice was hoarse. This time, he had returned to Earth with the intention of ruling this planet and sweeping away everything. But the repeated accidents had made him physically and mentally exhausted, and he was even starting to doubt the existence of the Beast God. The roar fell. A projection appeared in the hall. Beast God number 1 swallowed his saliva after seeing the scene in front of him, unable to say a word. The eyes of Beast God number 4, who had been full of mockery a moment ago, were now filled with fear. Are these guys really low-level creatures? Its eyes can shoot out terrifying death rays, and it can even shoot out electromagnetic pulse cannons. Other than that, it can even spit out flames from its mouth. And now, it's even turned into rays of silver light and is flying towards us. Beast God number 4 murmured, compared to the fear and panic the beast gods were feeling. At this moment, on the side of the Snake Tribe civilization, it was a completely different scene. Roar. Golden Lion activated bullet time. At the same time, he used the power of electromagnetism to suck his body into the battleship of the beast god civilization. Under bullet time, his speed was extremely fast. This feeling is really powerful. He growled. He narrowed his eyes and quickly locked onto a battleship. Boom. The entire process did not even take a second. When Golden Lion arrived at the edge of the spaceship, he didn't hesitate and slammed into the spaceship. With a loud bang, the super spaceship that was full of metal and could cross wormholes was easily smashed through by Golden Lion like tofu. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, the Golden Lion was just one of the millions of mutated beasts in the army. At the same time, in the skies above the Pacific Ocean, every single battleship was being attacked by the mutant beasts. Although they had intelligent assistance and incredible computing power, they were completely caught off guard in the face of the mutated beasts' unconventional means. Alert, alert. Warning. All the battleships that were attempting a space jump were hacked in the blink of an eye. The intelligent assistants inside turned bright red one after another. The alarm kept ringing. As for the arrogant beast gods, they were even more dumbfounded by this method and couldn't react for a long time. In fact, not only the beast gods were shocked. Read latest chapters at Wuxia World, site only. The creatures that were hiding in the underground shelter were also stunned. In the United States, Morpheus and the other intelligent life forms in District 51 were so shocked that their eyes were about to pop out. Even the tri-body civilization on the Centaurs in the deep universe had yet to recover. It was in a state of confusion for countless creatures. On the battleship of the beast god civilization, fear had crept in quietly. Chi. Inside a battleship, Yibei stuck out his forked tongue and sniffed the faint smell of the beast god's blood in the air as he calmly spoke. But in reality, he was very excited. Yibei had originally thought that he would have to mobilize the Rainbow Metal warship this time, but the strength displayed by the mutated beasts far exceeded his expectations. It's true that technology is developing. However, when one's body was strong enough, they could easily defeat a civilization that was several times stronger. It seems that I have to pay more attention to the development of the number of living creatures in the future. Yibei secretly made up his mind. In his mind, he couldn't help but think of the insect race and the machine race. Although they hadn't fought with these two races yet, there was no doubt that these two races with terrifying reproductive abilities were the most terrifying existences, whether in the low-tier universe or the high-tier universe. In the future, the snake race civilization could reproduce endlessly and plunder as they pleased, just like these two races. Yibei was thinking about the future development of the situation, and the countless beast gods finally experienced what true fear was. End quote. Don't come over. Monsters, get lost. End quote. A ferocious-looking beast god was surrounded by pitch-black ants. Although the ants were not large, only the size of an adult human, there were at least 100 of them. They were densely packed and pitch-black. Buzz. Buzz. As soon as the beast god finished speaking, the group of ants pounced on him without hesitation. A sizzling sound echoed in the warship. In less than a second, the beast god was completely devoured. Not even a drop of blood or a bone was left. As for the ants, after devouring the beast god, they formed an army without hesitation and searched the battleship at an incredible speed. Weapons posed no threat to them at all. Every minute, every second, a large number of beast gods died. Ah, Python. Impossible. How could I be eaten by such a dirty and lowly creature? Chi. In another battleship, several beast gods were firing wildly with weapons in their hands. In front of them were dozens of mutated reticulated pythons. Each of the pythons was in the size of dozens. Its body ignored all attacks, and its tongue flickered out of its mouth. The air was filled with a fishy smell. Crack, crack, crack. Gulp. The sound of devouring continued. The tall and strong beast gods had no power to resist the pythons. Some of them were even swallowed by the mutated reticulated pythons. This was a massacre. Boom, boom, boom. The explosions in the air continued. However, the more the mutated beasts devoured, the more excited they became. The energy that the beast gods' bodies brought to these mutated beasts made his body improve rapidly. The feeling of evolution was like taking drugs, making him unable to stop. On the other side, Buzz. Yi Bei's eyes narrowed. After realizing that the situation was almost fixed, he quickly rushed toward the largest warship. That was because the 6 higher-ups of the beast god civilization were all on that battleship. Yi Bei wanted to see if these 6 guys, who had been extremely arrogant months ago, could still say harsh words when they faced him today. Boom. Yi Bei was simply too fast. After he made up his mind, his body immediately transformed into a golden beam of light and shot into the battleship. End quote. Counterattack. Pour out all your weapons. We must teach these bastards the worst lesson. End quote. Beast God number 1 growled. Boom. In the end, just as he finished speaking, the metal wall of the hall that he was in, which was made of special materials, had a hole in it. And then, Yi Bei's huge body rushed straight to the center of the 6 beast gods. Whoosh. Some of the beast gods stood up with their eyes wide open. Clang. Some of the beast gods exerted their strength, and the huge stone chairs fell to the ground with a clang. What do you want to do? Plop. The beast god's body went soft, and he fell to the ground. These 6 people were usually high and mighty in the beast god civilization, looking down on everything. But when they faced Yi Bei, they were completely unsightly. They were no longer as arrogant as they had been before. It seems like I've overestimated the beast god civilization. They once escaped from Earth, but now they're being chased back to Earth by other civilizations. Now, I'll give you a chance. From today on, become my slaves and work for me. Then, hand over all the beast god civilization's technology you have and spread it to the world as fast as possible. Chi. He stuck out his scarlet forked tongue, and as he spoke, he revealed 2 rows of neat teeth. His teeth were covered in blood. It was extremely terrifying. Damn monster, who do you think you are? Beast God number 4 was enraged upon hearing this, and it instinctively growled. Crack, crack. But as soon as he finished speaking, Yi Bei moved. He was extremely fast, and his body was like a golden shadow. With a crack, Beast God number 4 was completely swallowed up by Yi Bei. Tap, 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 tap. Blood kept dripping from the corner of his mouth. Buzz. Immediately after, Yi Bei set his eyes on the other 5 beast gods. But, just as Yi Bei was looking at them, the 5 beast gods trembled and their eyes were bloodshot. It wasn't because they had an unprecedented fear of Yi Bei. It was because, without any warning, the voices of the creatures from the 3-body civilization rang out in their minds. You've lost. End quote. The strength of those creatures on Earth far exceeds your expectations. Immediately detonate all battleships and destroy the entire Earth as a deal. When the time comes, we'll send a fleet to the solar system and collect your genes in space to resurrect you. This technology is very simple for our civilization. What do you think? My old rivals, don't you feel very excited about this condition? The voice of the three-body civilization was extremely tempting. Read latest chapters at Wuxia World, site only. Seeing Beast God number 4 die. After hearing this, the 5 beast gods who were still alive looked at each other and came to an agreement. AI helper. Activate the self-destruct sequence immediately. Also, self-destruct as fast as you can. Even if we all die today, we'll drag all the living beings on this planet down with us. Beast God number 1 quickly gave the order without hesitation. The humiliation he had suffered on Earth today had dealt a huge blow to his dignity. So, even if he died, he had to give the fiercest counterattack. What? Yibei couldn't detect the communication between the three-body civilization and the beast gods. After devouring Beast God number 4, Yibei was rather surprised to hear the words of the remaining 5 beast gods. The beast gods. He actually had such a strong backbone. At this time, he was still thinking of self-destructing his battleship and dragging the entire Earth down with him? But Yibei would never let them complete such a low-level mistake. Forest of Death, open. Yibei's voice rang out almost at the same time. Chi. In the next moment, a huge black vortex appeared around the super cosmic warship. It didn't even take 0.1 seconds. The battleship that the 5 beast gods were on was completely sucked into the Forest of Death. The intelligent beast god acted as the control hub, and even though it could control all the ships around it, once the space was isolated, its orders couldn't be carried out. And as for Yibei, even in the Forest of Death, he could control the battle situation of the mutated beasts on Earth through his spiritual power domain. End quote. Warning, warning. Signal cut, unable to contact the subsystem. Do you wish to activate the self-destruction of this battleship? In the hall, the intelligent beast god didn't self-destruct when it realized the signal was cut off. Instead, it let out this sound. The 5 beast gods who had already made up their minds. After getting this answer, they were all dumbfounded. Countless question marks appeared in his head. It can't explode? The signal was cut off? What's going on? They spoke one after another, full of surprise and disbelief. When Yibei had used the Forest of Death space just now, he had directly swallowed the battleship from outside. The 5 beast gods had been in the hull of the battleship the whole time, so they had no idea what was going on outside. Sirs, our entire ship has been sucked into an unknown space. Because of the spatial barrier, I am unable to contact the other AI systems, unless I remove this barrier. However, I can still self-destruct in this space. The intelligent beast god was very calm. As the assistant of the beast god civilization, she had no fear of death. However, after he finished speaking, the 5 beast gods who were still alive were completely dumbfounded. They had no idea what was going on. They had clearly given the order to self-destruct just a second ago, so how did they end up in some *T unknown space the next second? Even at this moment, the 5 beast gods were all suspicious of the intelligent beast god. Bastard, did you sell us out from the start? You're a spy for the monsters on Earth. Beast god number 2 roared at the intelligent beast god. Yes, that must be the case. Otherwise, why would there be frequent failures from the beginning? Every time it's at the most critical moment, it's useless. It can't even give the most basic warning. Damn it. Beast god number 3 trembled. End quote. I really didn't expect things to turn out like this. I'm really unwilling to be killed like this. End quote. Beast god number 5 said with a sad expression. Even Beast god number 1 was glaring at the AI system, as if she was the culprit. But at this time, the intelligent system was very innocent. Being questioned by its own master was the greatest humiliation to an intelligent system. I'm sorry, Your Excellencies. It's my fault on Earth. If only my computing power could be a little stronger, perhaps this wouldn't have happened. Now, I'm willing to destroy all data. Data being formatted. 1%. 2%. As soon as he finished speaking, the format was activated. This behavior made the 5 beast gods who were still alive gnash their teeth in anger, believing that the intelligent beast god had betrayed them. And as for Yibei, they huddled together and looked down at the 5 so-called beast gods. Their eyes were full of amusement. These guys were not very smart. It was obvious that they were not strong enough, but they still relied on the control center of the warship. In the end, it even forced the control center to self-destruct. However, if he thought about it seriously, the intelligent assistant of the beast god civilization was also quite funny. It couldn't take any damage at all. Are you guys done? Chi. Yibei flicked out his forked tongue and coldly interrupted the group of people. Buzz. But after that, the 5 beast gods still had no intention of surrendering. Monsters, do you really think you've won? Our ship is connected to the wormhole. Once the data here is cleared, the wormhole will go out of control and self-destruct with a 100% chance. If the wormhole in the ocean explodes, all the living things on Earth will be scratched by the space debris and part of their bodies will be sucked into the space turbulence. Beast God number 1 gritted his teeth. When he called Yibei a monster, the scene was really laughable. Clearly, his appearance, in Yibei's opinion, was even stranger. You still don't understand? After hearing that, Yibei's emotions didn't change much. However, this behavior only made the beast gods even angrier. They glared at Yibei, wishing they could tear him into pieces. Damn monster, are you underestimating us? Beast god number 2 couldn't hold it in anymore. But, other than threatening Yibei with words, he couldn't think of any other way to attack him. Beast god number 1, on the other hand, reacted quickly. End quote. AI assistant, no matter what, our beast god civilization created you. If you really want to self-destruct, use the space weapon to destroy this place, then self-destruct. That's the last favor you can do for us. End quote. Beast god number 1's voice was cold, even though they were shocked by the creatures on Earth. However, in their hearts, the power of the 3-body civilization was what they feared and despaired about. Even if they died here today, they were not willing to truly offend the 3-day civilization. Moreover, the tri-body civilization had made a promise. This made them even more determined. End quote. A space weapon? Yibei's eyes turned cold. He had originally wanted to obtain enough technology from these beast gods, but these guys didn't seem to realize it at all. Buzz. In the next moment, Yibei's eyes, which flickered with a fiery light, suddenly fell on beast god number 1. Whoosh. Then, without any hesitation, it bit down on beast god number 1. Read latest chapters at Wuxia World, site only. Beast god number 1 had never imagined that Yibei would be so fierce. He didn't waste any time talking, and immediately launched an attack. As for beast god number 1 himself, he didn't even have the chance to react. He felt his vision go black, and a bone-piercing pain spread through his body. Then, his consciousness completely disappeared. You? How dare you? Number 1. At the side, the 4 beast god higher-ups who were still alive trembled violently when they saw this. In the sky above the Pacific Ocean. Walala. Asterisk roar, asterisk. As the horde of mutant beasts charged into the battleships, the situation was completely one-sided. Some of the creatures that were hiding in the underground shelter rushed out excitedly. Some creatures stood on the top of buildings. They couldn't see anything with their naked eyes, but they still looked up at the Pacific Ocean. End quote. Unbelievable. To be honest, I feel like I'm in a dream. The power of those mutated beasts is beyond my expectations. I thought the beast god civilization's battleships were powerful, but it seems like they're just paper tigers. End quote. Yeah. However, their technology is really powerful. At least they can create wormholes. End quote. It's just technology. Don't worry, our civilization won this time. It won't be long before we completely absorb those technologies. In 3 years at most, the Earth will be turned upside down again. End quote. The creatures that rushed out of the underground shelter were in a heated discussion. The internet of the Snake Tribe civilization was flooded with countless posts at this moment. You won. Yeah, what's wrong with that? We won just like that. Based on the current situation, the races that participated in the battle have all begun to have a taste of the alien creatures. To be honest, I'm very regretful that I didn't join the battle. He won a little too suddenly. End quote. No, I can only say that the beast god civilization isn't as powerful as I thought. End quote. By the way, did anyone notice that after the war broke out, A super-large space warship with a diameter of more than 200,000 meters disappeared into thin air. When they first came into contact with the beast god civilization, there were rumors that they knew how to teleport. If that battleship escapes, the consequences will be unimaginable. Spatial jump? No matter how he jumps, the warriors have already rushed into those battleships. The beast god's physical fitness isn't very strong. If he were to face them head-on, he would only be killed. As time passed, the arguments on the internet continued. Other than the internet, the various forces were also shocked by the performance of the Snake Tribe civilization this time. For example, in Area 51 in the United States. In the end, I've still underestimated the strength of the Serpent God and the others. Technology is only secondary. The most terrifying thing is that they can use their living bodies to shoot out terrifying destructive rays. Even in the entire universe, this is an extremely powerful technique. Hiss. As he said this, Morpheus couldn't help but gasp. At the start, he had only had a certain level of confidence in the snake civilization. At the same time, he had been extremely fearful of the beast god civilization's technology. But now, he realized that what he was truly afraid of was the strength of his physical body. End quote. Mayor Morpheus, recently, many mutated beasts have been very cooperative with our research. According to our tests, although their cells have been strengthened to an incredible extent, they can't even shoot death light from their eyes. This has completely exceeded the limits and the scope of understanding of normal creatures. End quote. Neo's eyes widened. End quote. So, the beast god civilization failed. End quote. Morpheus shook his head. To be honest, he couldn't explain this situation. If she had to study them thoroughly, she had to get her hands on Yi Bei's genes, as well as the genes of the apostles. But it was clear that with the current status of Area 51 in the entire snake civilization, it would be impossible for her to do so. Not necessarily. Mayor Morpheus, quick, look at the screen. At this moment, Trinina suddenly spoke, her voice extremely urgent and her eyes wide open. Morpheus' reaction was extremely fast. He immediately turned his attention to the screen. Then, his expression changed drastically. The creatures of all the major races on the internet. Hundreds of millions of humans. There were also the various races hidden in the depths of the universe who had been silently watching the war on Earth. At this moment, they all held their breaths. Walala. Above the Pacific Ocean, the electron-positive clouds that had disappeared earlier reappeared out of thin air. This time, it was not growing slowly. When it appeared, its diameter exceeded 10 million kilometers, almost covering the entire Pacific Ocean. And NBSB, Hong Long Long. In addition, within the clouds, the ball of lightning and the pillar of lightning continued to shoot out. It was as if the entire world could be destroyed at any moment. Centaurs. The trash of the beast god civilization has finally made their move. However, detonating wormholes is really a low-class method. The three-body civilization helped them build this wormhole, end quote. End quote. It's simple. Those trash clearly know that they aren't strong enough to destroy the creatures on Earth. In fact, it's fine now. Detonating the wormholes and creating endless space fragments is a way of attacking that has exceeded the limits of the beast god civilization. It's a good way to test the true level of the creatures on Earth. End quote. End quote. Let's continue with the analysis. End quote. End quote. Anyway, no matter what, we must not let a new civilization that threatens the three-body civilization appear in this universe. Once we discover any signs, we must nip them in the bud as soon as possible. This is the best way to protect our own safety. End quote. Yes. The conversation ended. The three-body civilization once again began monitoring Earth. And in the forest of death, eBay could also sense the changes outside. End quote. Wormhole explosion, huh? It's about to explode. This was created by a higher-level civilization. The energy contained in it is enough to destroy the entire solar system. Monster, let's see how you can still be arrogant. End quote. Beast God number 1 was dead. Beast God number 4 was also dead. The remaining 4 beast gods, despite their fear, still acted recklessly. They actually dared to threaten Yi Bei at a time like this. As for Yi Bei, when he heard this, a murderous look appeared in his eyes. It wasn't because these words provoked Yi Bei. It was because the wormhole that had suddenly expanded in the sky above the Pacific Ocean carried a destructive aura. It made Yi-Bei feel like he was going to immediately annihilate the entire beast god civilization. End quote. How troublesome. This is forcing me to show my trump card. End quote. He opened his mouth slightly and muttered. Read latest chapters at Wuxia World, site only. It was impossible for him to sit back and watch the wormhole explode. Through his observations in the field of mental power, Yi-Bei was completely convinced that an explosion of that level would bring irreversible damage to the entire solar system. Once it was grazed by the space debris, the Earth would be riddled with holes. Serpent God Battleship, come out. His eyes narrowed. Just as the wormhole was about to explode, a dazzling seven-colored radiance suddenly shone in the middle of the wormhole. What's that? On a planet in the Centaur constellation, an extremely surprised voice suddenly came. End quote. It seems that something is about to appear from the wormhole, and that thing is directly appearing in the wormhole through space technology. However, this is completely impossible. The wormhole itself is made up of countless space fragments. New space fragments can't be born without the key. End quote. End quote. It seems that we've still underestimated the snake civilization. They're going to show their trump card. End quote. End quote. If we can really crack the wormhole, immediately order the troops to march on Earth. End quote. Yes. The conversation ended. Other than the three-body civilization. In the depths of the universe, in an extremely dark place where no light could be seen. It was silent and deep, without any sound. However, at this moment, this giant python was actually coiled up in the void. With every breath and breath, a terrifying shock wave was formed in the surroundings. This snake. It was the space snake that had destroyed the planet with one strike. Chi. He stuck out his tongue. End quote. There's such a powerful fluctuation on Earth. It's like some super weapon is going to explode. I hope everything is fine there before I arrive. Otherwise, it'll be too boring. End quote. His voice was filled with anticipation. Whoosh. Then, his body moved slightly. With his physical body, he advanced at an unbelievable speed in the deep universe. Earth. In the sky above the Pacific Ocean. The sudden explosion of the wormhole engulfed all the battleships of the beast god civilization. What's going on? The wormhole has appeared again. Not good. I have a very uneasy feeling, as if something terrible is about to happen. Quickly run. Many mutated beasts who were fighting on the battleship quickly felt uneasy and shouted. As for the beast gods who were still alive, they were even more terrified. The beast god civilization had once traveled the universe. They had read about the wormhole explosion in the information. The wormhole suddenly expanded. Once it reached its limit, it would explode. At that time, the space fragments inside would all shoot out in all directions like sharp blades. Moreover, this kind of space fragment could penetrate all matter. Anything that came into contact with it would be absorbed by it. Damn it, why did it turn out like this? I don't want my body to be cut into countless pieces and then fall into all kinds of different spaces. I'm dead. I'm really dead this time. End quote. Think of a way. Quickly perform a space jump and activate all the energy. We can't stay here even if we have to pay the most terrible price. End quote. Countless surviving beast gods were screaming in pain. This fear was far deeper than when he was slaughtered by the mutated beasts. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. Above the Pacific Ocean, the electron-positive cloud layer had expanded to 2,000 kilometers. The storm even swept up a large number of continents. The entire Earth seemed to have entered doomsday. I don't want to die. Bastard. Run, quickly run. Are you an idiot? Where are you going? If it really explodes, the entire Earth, the entire solar system will be affected and all life will be destroyed. Then, are you dead? Sorrow, fear, and shock. Countless negative emotions were displayed at this moment. The internet was in an uproar. In the face of death, there was no living thing that could not be afraid. However, just as this sorrowful atmosphere spread across the entire Earth, on the Pacific Ocean side, the mutated beasts that had invaded the battleship opened their eyes wide and stared outside the battleship at almost the same time. As for the mutated beasts that went deep into the warship, they also felt a terrifying pressure and couldn't help but stop. End quote. Look, There seems to be more battleships coming out of the wormhole. End quote. End quote. What is it? It's so scary. It hasn't appeared yet, but I feel like my entire body is being suppressed by a powerful force. I can't even move. End quote. End quote. 7 colors. No, that battleship seems to be able to change its color at will. End quote. It's so big, I can't even see the end. End quote. Could it be another warship from the Beast God civilization? When the battleships of the Beast God civilization were mentioned, many mutated beasts couldn't help but feel fear from the bottom of their hearts. However, the surviving Beast Gods were even more afraid, because they were very clear. The terrifying battleship that had appeared outside did not belong to the Beast God civilization. What's that? How could this be? This is a low-tier universe. It's an extremely barren place in the entire universe, but from the looks of this battleship, it's at least star grade, which only exists in high-tier universes. It can pass through wormholes at will, and even just its appearance can make countless creatures feel immense pressure. End quote. Could it be that another civilization is about to appear? End quote. Regardless of whether it's the battleships on Earth or the more advanced civilizations, today is definitely not going to be good for us. End quote. What do? The Beast Gods were in despair. When they first came to Earth, they had an attitude of looking down on everything. From the beginning to the end, he had never put the snake civilization or human civilization in his eyes. But now how much time had passed? The contrast was too great. And in the Forest of Death, when the Serpent God battleship appeared, Yibei immediately contacted Kai Lin. After confirming that he could easily destroy the wormhole explosion, he immediately felt much more relaxed. If a wormhole explodes, it'll definitely be very interesting, right? To be honest, this is the first time I've seen something like this. Beast Gods, I'm sure you're all interested in seeing it up close, right? Chi. As he spoke, a distorted space appeared in front of Yibei. As for the self-destruction of the super battleships that had been dragged into the Forest of Death, Yibei didn't care at all. With the survival abilities of the living plants in the Forest of Death, even if the explosion destroyed all of them, they would germinate and absorb the power of the explosion in this space. The various energy sources and metals carried by the battleships would all become supplements, and the entire Forest of Death would become more powerful in a short period of time. But when the 4 Beast God high-level executives who were still alive heard Yibei's words, their bodies instantly went limp, and they couldn't muster any strength. What kind of joke was this? Watch the wormhole explode. It would be better to die in the self-destruction of this battleship. Read latest chapters at Wuxia World, site only. Damn monster, you're crazy, you're a complete madman. You have no idea what a wormhole explosion means. Damn it, I don't want to go. The 4 Beast Gods screamed. However, the current situation was no longer up to them. Under Yibei's control, a spatial vortex opened, and the powerful suction instantly pulled Yibei and the 4 Beast Gods into it.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe.